Said all of that, we are ready to go through the list of cases. There are 47 cases listed to be heard today, but we believe only a handful have been not resolved. So with that, let's ask the city's representative to introduce. I presume the lady in front of me is the representative.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Kristen Patchell on behalf of the city. The first matter I would start with is number 2, HA 2023-004782, 2948 Cambridge Street. Appellant Arlene Ashton. This matter is withdrawn by the appellant. The next matter on the list is number 6, HA 2023-005338, 721 North 49th Street. Appellants Shirley Lennon and Bernie Kelly. This matter has been withdrawn by the department. Next, we have number 7, HA 2024-000414, 7021 North Broad Street. Appellant Virginia Langley. This matter is listed as moot. Next, we have number 8, HA 2024-000581, 5325 Walnut Street. Appellant Terry Johnson. This matter is listed as moot. Next, number 11, HA 2024-001174, 11th Street Link Financial. Appellant Hugo Rodrigo Kelly. This matter is listed as moot. Next, we have number 12, HA 2024-001203, 3528 Judson Street. Appellant George Eldridge. This matter is moot complied. Number 14, HA 2024-001221, 4829 Longshore Avenue. Appellant Robert Nocella. This matter is moot complied. Number 15, HA 2024-001227, 210 Larston Street. Appellant Jiteng Deng. This matter is moot. Number 16, HA 2024-001248, 6513 Regent Street. Appellant Latifa Brigman. This matter is moot. Number 17, HA 2024-001260, 3924 Manor Street. Appellant Candace Weber. This matter is a joint continuance. It has been administratively continued to May 20th, 2025. Number 18, HA 2024-001261, 1555 North Peach Street. Appellant Guy Regis. This matter is moot. Number 19, HA 2024-001265, 390 Manor Street. Appellants Candace Weber. This matter is a joint continuance as well, also continued until May 20th, 2025.
Excuse me, counsel. I think you left a number out address. Would you read the address into the record again?
Sure, 3907 Manor Street. Yes, thank you. Continuing to number 20. HA 2024-001268, 400 North 63rd Street. Appellant Eric Destina. This matter is a settlement. It's a city affirm with a 90-day stay of enforcement. Number 21, HA 2024-001275, 226 East Clearfield Street. Appellant Jonathan DeRose. This matter is moot. Number 23, HA 2024-001280, 240 South St. Bernard Street. Appellants James Huang and Pei-Chung Huang. This matter is moot complied. 24, HA 2024-001282, 5230 East Roosevelt Boulevard. Appellant Renal Carter. This matter has been settled for a city affirm with a 120-day stay of enforcement. Number 25, HA 2024-001283, 5230 East Roosevelt Boulevard, appellant Renal Carter. This matter has been withdrawn by the department. Number 26, HA 2024-001284, 3421 Morel Ave, appellant Stephen Call. This matter has been settled. It's a city affirm with a 90-day stay of enforcement. 27, HA 2024-001290, 126 Grape Street, appellant Arturo Bravo Nuevo. This matter is moot complied. Next, number 28, HA 2024-001292, 2744 North Dover Street, appellant Melinda Davis. This is an appellant continuous request. I do have a note that it's been confirmed by the board. Next, number 29, HA 2024-001305, 224 East Sharpnack Street, appellant PB Jack Properties LLC. This matter is moot complied. Number 30, HA 2024-001315, 221 Spark Street, appellant Carl Simmons. This matter is moot. Number 31, HA 2024-001324, 1500 Market Street, appellant Justin Bernstein. This matter is moot complied. Number 32, HA 2024-001328, 3353 Amber Street, appellant Evan Rosario, DBA Rosario Investing Group LLC. This matter is moot complied. 33, HA 2024-001332, 2221 West Lippincott Street, appellant Tyrone Martin. This matter is moot. Number 35, HA 2024-001338, 5943 Lansdowne Avenue, appellant Gary Salesman. I have this as an appellant continuance request.
Sorry, what did you just say?
An appellant continuance request. Unsure if you want to rule later.
The appellant has done what?
An appellant continuance request.
And do we have a city agreeing to the request or not?
Unopposed.
Unopposed. Then,
Matthew Webster, Board Counsel. We received an email from a Brett Williams. So the question is Dr. Gary Salzman in the hearing room today?
Yes.
So,
Can you hear me?
yes, I can. Sir, can you confirm that you wanted this continuance request?
I did want a continuance request.
Thank you. Since Mr. Williams is not an attorney, we wanted to make sure that was your wish. Mr. Pincus, Chairperson, if you'd like to grant the request.
this is the first time the matter is listed for a hearing. The city indicates that it doesn't oppose the request, so your request will be granted. You appear to be sitting in a vehicle, which reminds me of an announcement that I failed to make, that if you are in a vehicle, that you need to be stopped if we're to hear your case and parked and not in traffic. But your request for a continuance will be granted, Mr. Saltzman.
Thank
Or
you so
Dr.
much.
Dr. Saltzman, my apologies.
Thank you. And my car is parked.
Very good, very good. All
Can-
right,
Continuing to 36, HA 2024-001341, 6649 Tulip Street, appellant 1892 Broadway Associates, Inc. This matter is moot. Continuing to 37, HA 2024-001344, 1546 Levick Street, appellant Dalton Bolgen, This matter has been settled. It is the city of Ferm with a 90-day stay of enforcement. Number 38, HA 2024-001345, again 1546 Levick Street, and appellant Dalton Bolgen. This matter has also been settled. City of Ferm with a 90-day stay of enforcement. Number 39, HA 2024-001347, 1725 South Fraser Street, appellant Sergio Perez. This matter is an appellant continuance where the request has been granted.
Okay, just a moment, Ms. Paschal. That
Sure.
is the second case that we have on the list that involves a Spanish interpreter. The first case was number 11, 11th Street, Lincoln Financial, Hugo Rodrigo Cali. And this case is, as you said, 1725 South Fraser Street, Sergio Perez. Are either of those people present? Is the Spanish interpreter here?
This is the interpreter speaking. My name is Stephen Aubain, Aubain, ID YM288.
Mr. Aubain, we've seen you here before. These cases, the two cases requiring your service have been continued or made moot. So under the circumstances, your services will not be required today.
All right, thank you for using the services. You have a great day.
You too. Thank you. And again, is Sergio Perez here? I believe I saw him. No? All right.
Okay,
Proceed, Ms. Paschal.
continuing to number 40, HA.
Client needs a translator.
I'm sorry, who's just spoke? He's been muted. All right, let's proceed.
Property
Say your name again, please.
is Damaso from Property Creation, so representing the client, and they need translators, so they can speak to you guys.
What's the address of your property?
¿Cuál es eso? 925 Catherine Street.
Just a moment. It's Edmund Street, am I correct?
I think it's Cantrell, number 13 perhaps.
925 Cantrell Street, Dania Hernandez Valencillo, is that who you are?
Yeah, yeah, she's here.
Do you need an interpreter?
Please. Yes,
What language?
Spanish.
Just a moment, please. Yeah. All right, so there's someone sitting there with you who appears to understand English. Is that correct?
Yes, I understand and I can speak English as well.
All right, so while we had an interpreter scheduled for today, was not for your case. You needed to request an interpreter before, and I believe it's listed when you get the notice of violation that if you need an interpreter, you should let us know. So at this point, we're going to continue your case, which is number 13, HA 2024-001-213, 925 Cantrell Street, Dania Hernandez Valencillo. That will be continued, and we will list it for a Spanish interpreter at the next time the case is scheduled for hearing.
Okay, thank you. So they will not have a notice by mail, notice on the day for the
Yes,
next one?
you will get a notice in the mail of the date of the new hearing. Okay.
Van a tener un nuevo hearing con un intérprete en español, so yo le van a mandar una carta diciéndole cuándo la fecha nueva con el intérprete.
All right, so at this point, because we don't
Okay.
have an official interpreter, we're relying on the person with you to explain what's happening. This case will be continued. We will not hear it today. You will get a notice in the mail of the next date when the hearing will be scheduled, and we will have a Spanish interpreter at that hearing to help you proceed with your case. Okay, that doesn't stop you from trying to work with the city to settle your case, but.
Okay.
Okay, but in the meantime, your case is continued. Let us go
Okay,
on
thank
to,
you very much.
okay,
Okay, thank you.
yes. We were at
Number 40.
number 40, okay.
HA 2024-001356, 431 Ron Street. Appellant Jean Forian, DBA Emmaus Brothers Acquisitions LLC. This matter is moot. Number 41, HA 2024-001361, 785 South Third Street. Appellant Joseph Duraco. This matter is moot. Number 42, HA 2024-001362, 1728 South Bancroft Street. Appellant 1728 South Bancroft LLC. This matter is moot. Number 43, HA 2024-001370, 419 Chandler Street. Appellant Michael DeVos. This matter has been continued administratively. Number 45, HA 2024-001372, 1013 Longshore Avenue. Appellant Nanette Sarkioglu Kionas. This matter is moot. Number 46, HA 2024-001374, 5405 Whitby Ave. Appellant Natalia Shevchuk. This matter is moot complied. Number 47, HA 2024-001375, 3128 Ridge Ave. Appellant Janet McDaniel. This matter is moot. And that
Very-
concludes the city's
Very good.
list.
There are some others that we have administrative matters listed having been acted upon. I don't know whether you or other council will be presenting them. But let me just point out, which I forgot to mention, anyone whose case has just been called, of which there are about 30 to 40 of them, if the case was called as moot, withdrawn, or an agreement, then you no longer need to be present. If you don't understand what happened with your case, you have a number to call. It's listed on the notice of today's hearing that you received in the mail. That's the administrative staff who schedules the hearings for this board. If you are confused or don't understand what action occurred today, you're welcome to call that number, or you're welcome to stay and listen to the rest of the cases as they are presented. But if your case was listed as withdrawn, moot complied, or an agreement, that matter for our records has been closed for the time being. If it's continued, your case will get relisted for another hearing date. All right. So we have a couple of other matters. We have one matter involving a Vietnamese interpreter. Is the interpreter present?
Just a moment, Mr. Chair. We might have some more city,
Right, before we hear the case.
before we hear more
Yes.
cases on their merits.
All right, so before I call for the interpreter, our files listed that several other cases may have been resolved. Is there anyone here from the city regarding case number 1? Mr. Ryder.
Thank you. May it please the board, Leonard F. Reuter, REUTER for the city of Philadelphia. Just had a couple matters. Number 1 on the list, HA 2023-004416, 7143 Edmund Street, appellant Jorge Falu, FALU. We reached an agreement that case will be marked city affirmed with a 90-day stay of enforcement. I provided an email confirmation of that to board administration. With regard to number 3, HA 2023-004832, 816 Chestnut Street, appellant Joseph Lieberman et alia. We reached an agreement in that appeal to have it marked city affirmed with a 90-day stay. And I just want to note, the board administration had reached out indicating that they believed the case was moot, but it's not moot. There is an outstanding permit application that's under review. So we've agreed to just a city affirmed 90-day stay. And counsel for the appellant confirmed that, and I provided that email confirmation to the board administration really just about an hour ago. We reached that agreement. Number 4, HA 2023-004881, 816 Chestnut Street. It's a related case. Joseph Lieberman, the appellant. We have reached an agreement to settle that case for a $500 fine. We'll provide a written copy of that particular agreement shortly after the hearing.
Is it city affirmed with a $500 fine?
Yes. It's an SVN case, so it's really just a fine case.
Okay.
I believe number 22, HA 2024-001279, 1307 East Moyamensing Avenue. Their attorney, John Griffin Esquire, requested a continuance. The city didn't oppose it, and I believe that has been granted administratively by the board.
Is that it, Mr. Reuter?
That's it for me. I mean, I have 2 other cases that have not
All
resolved.
right,
so.
all right. I think I still have one matter that I don't see. Maybe I'm missing it. I thought I had one. Is there one that's not? Number 13. Oh, that's the one we just continued. Right, okay. Interpret.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, this is the court reporter. Could I ask you to get a little closer to the microphone, please?
I will do my best, Mr. Kelly.
Thank
All
you.
right. Does that work?
Much better, thank you.
All right, so, again, if you've heard your case called and and it's been resolved, then you're welcome to stay or leave. We have several people sitting in the hearing room. We have a Vietnamese interpreter. So I think we will do case number 10 first, and then we'll go through whoever is present in the hearing room on a case that hasn't been called. There are only 5 or 6 left. So case number 10, Mr. Needs to be called. We'll be with you in a minute.
Okay.
Let's see here. It has to be called. Yes, case number 10.
This is case number 10, hearing appeal ending 07295517 North Fifth Street, Tuan Tran and Kiu Tran. And also, is there a Vietnamese interpreter present in the room?
Yes, this is a Vietnamese interpreter. My name is Tuấn. My number is G as in golf, C in Charlie, number 844.
Okay, Mr. Nguyen, you will be interpreting everything that is being said I will remind people and ask people as they speak to speak slowly so the interpreter can present and transfer from English to Vietnamese and from Vietnamese into English. Do you swear or affirm that your translating will be accurate and as best as you are able to do, Mr. Nguyen?
Yes, I swear, Your Honor.
Okay. The appellants, are they here? Tuan Tran and Q Tran, are you here?
Dạ, không biết là những người kháng cáo có mặt ở đây không ạ? Tuấn Trần và Kiêu Trần có ở đây không ạ?
I'll repeat it one more time. Case number 10, HA 2024-007, I'm sorry, case 10, HA 2024-000729, 5517 North Fifth Street, Tuan Tran and Q Tran. Could you repeat that, Mr. Nguyen?
Dạ, tôi xin nhắc lại hồ sơ số 10 HA 2024000729 5517 North, đường số 5, Tuấn Trần và Kiêu Trần có mặt ở đây không ạ?
Is there anyone present for this appeal?
Dạ, không biết Tuấn Trần và Quy Trần có tham dự phiên kháng cáo này không ạ?
Mr. Tran?
This is Tuan Tran.
Okay, you are present.
Yes.
Okay. And you have the interpreter so that he can interpret as we proceed, okay?
Can I do without the interpreter?
I did not understand what you just said.
Can I? Go ahead.
He just says like he can speak directly to you without interpreter in English.
You can speak in English. You don't need the services of an interpreter. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Just a moment.
Xin chờ một xíu ạ.
All right, we're back. I just want to confirm, Mr. Tran, you understand everything that I'm saying and you are able to respond in English to everything?
Yes, Honor.
Okay, I would ask Mr. Nguyen to stand by, and if there is an issue, we may call upon his services, but we'll proceed without his involvement for the present. Mr. Tran, can I ask you to raise your right hand, please, and swear or affirm that the testimony and statements you give today will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Mr. Cohen, you're the city's counsel in this matter?
Yes, good afternoon, members of the board. Jeffrey Cohen, attorney for the city. And I have with me Inspector Nathaniel Williams from LNI. If we could please have Mr. Williams sworn.
Mr. Williams, I should swear you in? Do you swear or affirm, Inspector Williams, my apologies, swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So you have to.
Turn on your mic when you're, or turn it off when you speak. Say yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Cohen,
As a threshold matter, this appeal was 95 days after the notice of violations. It is untimely, and the city would address that first with the board's indulgence.
so the issue is a nunc-pro-tunc that first has to be considered. Is that?
Precisely. There was a late appeal request filed. I can get to that. I can share on my screen the notices of violation and the request.
All right, just give me a moment here. All right, let's proceed, Mr. Cohen.
Thank you.
Just let me explain, Mr. Tran. There are two issues that arise or that are here today. The first issue is whether or not this board should hear your appeal at all, because according to the city, you filed your appeal beyond the 30 days that you are given once a notice has been issued to you to file an appeal. When the city inspector comes out and they issue a notice of violation, the notice is sent to you and it says in that notice that you have 30 days to appeal the decision, meaning you have to file and submit to the city within 30 days of receiving that notice. Now, I've got your appeal and I see that you've raised an issue as to whether or not you received it. The city will respond on that issue, but we as a board have to decide whether or not that appeal was late. And if it was late, if you have a good reason, such as that the city may have made or committed an error in the transmission of that notice to you, not that you didn't get it, but that the city committed some error. And if not, then we may decide not to hear your case. Mr. Cohen, you want to go forward, please?
Thank you. I'd like to share on my screen the exhibits packet that the city sent to the board and to the appellant last week. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Now, Inspector Williams, have you had an opportunity to review LNI's records for and inspect the property at 5517 North Fifth Street?
Yes.
Going down to page 9 in the packet, if you'll excuse me. What is this document that I have on screen, the highlighting of which is not in the original? It's been added for later effect.
That is a notice of a violation. Violation notice in order to correct.
And which address was this notice mailed to?
316 Pickwick Drive, Williamstown, New Jersey, 08094.
And what's the date of this notice?
11/17/23.
Now, for the board's sake, I'm going to go down to page 21 in the packet, which is Mr. Tran's late appeal request. What's the address that's on this late appeal request?
316 Pickwick Drive, Williamstown, New Jersey, 08094.
And scrolling down just one page to the Blur Board of LNI review appeal form, is that same Pickwick Drive address on this form?
Yes, that's the same.
Now going back up to page, if you'll indulge me, 11 in the packet. Is this the same notice just mailed to a different address?
That's correct.
And what's the address?
1601 Spring Garden Street, M111,
Philadelphia, PA, 19130.
And going down in the packet to page 27, what is this document that I have on screen?
That's a rental license?
And was it issued to the appellants?
Correct.
And what's the mailing address on the appellant's rental license?
1601 Spring Garden Street, apartment M, 111, Philadelphia, PA, 19130.
And what's the effective date of this license?
1/14/23.
So this license was active when the notice of violations went out in November of 2023?
Correct.
And scrolling down 2 pages to page 29, is this a reissuance of the same license with the same mailing address in January 26th of 2024?
Correct.
So they maintained the same mailing address from before and after when the notice was mailed out in November?
That's correct.
Thank you. And now finally going to page 13, is this that same notice of violation from November of 2023 mailed to a different address?
Correct. That's PO Box 36716, Philadelphia, PA, 19107.
And just one moment. Going down to page 33 in the packet, is this the Office of Property Assessment webpage for that property address at 5517 North Fifth Street?
That's correct.
What's the mailing address that the Office of Property Assessment has for that address?
PO Box 36716, Philadelphia, PA.
And were all of the notices of violation actually mailed out on November 17th of 2023
Correct.
through the normal process in LNI's mailroom?
That's correct.
Then I would present the inspector for any cross-examination, but I believe the city has sufficiently shown that the notices were mailed out in November and they weren't appealed until February 20th, a 95-day delay.
Okay, just a moment. All right, Mr. Tran, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, so the information presented by the city through the testimony of Mr. Inspector Williams, do you have any questions for Inspector Williams based on his statements? You will have an opportunity to reply with why you believe your appeal should be accepted. But for the moment, at the present time, do you have any questions for Inspector Williams regarding the statements that he made to this board regarding all of the addresses and notices that were sent?
First of all, Honor, for the first address, which is mailbox 36176, that mailbox had been closed for, I believe, 4 or 5 years ago. After, that mailbox closed, we used 1601.
Well, all right, so Mr. Tran, let me repeat what I just said to you. You will have an opportunity to explain your position. What I'm asking you right now is, do you have any questions for Inspector Williams regarding his statements? If you don't, it's okay. You can explain why you couldn't get or didn't get these notices, but do you have a question for Inspector Williams? Yes or no?
No, Honor.
Okay, very good. Mr. Cohen, any further testimony?
I would reserve the right to put on testimony if we get to the merits. Otherwise, I would point out that in the city's packet, the second page of the table of contents, exhibits C13 through C16, deals specifically with the mailbox rule, meaning if we show proof that a mailing was made, then it is presumed to be received, and that it takes more than merely denying receipt to overcome that presumption. You have to actually present evidence of, like a giant snowstorm that, delayed the mail for over a month or something to that effect. And then with respect to untimeliness, and specifically nunc pro tunc, an appellant needs to present a case for nunc pro tunc where they are blameless. They were non-negligent. It was some other administrative breakdown or some thing that occurred to them that was not their fault, that caused them to file a delayed appeal. And here, I would argue that's not the case. It is very clearly.
Isn't this the object of your argument once we hear from the appellant?
True.
All right, but I understand you're
but
laying the
to lay out
groundwork
for-
so that
for the appellant.
the appellant might understand that he has a burden to overcome if he wants us to hear or accept this late appeal.
Precisely.
All right, thank you. Mr. Tran, can you,
Yes, Your Honor.
can you explain, there were, testimony was presented that notices of the violations were sent to several different addresses. Can you explain why your appeal was filed late?
Yes, Your Honor, first of all, the first address, the P.O. Box address that Mr. Colin present was closed. It's no longer there 4 or 5 years ago. Then we use, then we use 1601 Spring Garden Street address as a mailing address. So 4 years, that's 4 years ago. At that time, you know, my daughter left there. She's the one who forwarded the mail to us. And in this, I believe in September or October 2013, I believe, my daughter moved out. And, you know, it's the friends still living there. So they, you know, we asked them to forward the mail to us, right? And
So wait, now which address are you referring to that your daughter moved out of?
1601 Spring Garden Street.
Okay. Did you notify the city at any time that this address changed?
No, because the city have my permanent address, which is on 316 Pickwick Drive, Williamstown, New Jersey. That's my
Well,
permanent address.
and there was there not a notice sent to the address on Pickwick Drive?
The first notice, I did not receive the first notice for at my permanent address, but I did receive the second notice, the final notice. That's why I'm appearing today.
I see. Okay, and what about the notice that was sent to the property address at 5517 North Fifth Street?
I did not aware of, sir, because my daycare tenant was there and he did not notify me anything about that. So we are not aware of that.
So what you're saying is that the two of the addresses that the notice was sent to, there was no one there who could have received it that's related to you or your family. That's the addresses for the P.O. Box and 1601 Spring Garden Street. You said you didn't receive the first notice that was sent to your home address on Pickwick Street in Williamstown, New Jersey, and the one that was sent to the property was not forwarded to you by the tenant. Is that your position?
That's correct, sir.
Very good.
I could do some limited cross.
Sure.
I'm going to share on my screen the exhibits packet. Mr. Tran, can you see the exhibits packet on screen?
Yes, I do.
I'm going to go to page 31 in the packet. Do you see this rental license that it was issued to you for 5519 North Fifth Street?
Yes, I see it.
And you see that the mailing address on this license is still 1601 Spring Garden, apartment M111?
Yes, I see that.
And you also see that this license was issued on February 28th of 2025, about 2 weeks ago?
Yes.
And you also see down here highlighted in yellow, if any information changes during the term of the license or a license, the owner shall provide updated information in writing to the department. Do you see that?
Yes, I see that.
So then do you admit that you failed to provide a new updated address to the Department of Licenses and Inspections?
So my position is that, you know, I update this license online, right? So when you update the license online, I just go there, update and pay for it. So I did not, have a chance to go in there and update, the mailing information or other thing.
So your position to the board today is that you cannot update your mailing address in an online rental license application.
No, I didn't say that, but I did not have a chance to go there and update it. So I go there, I just update the license. That's why I pay attention to the mailing address, because I know that, the city have been mailing to my current permanent address at 316 Pickwick Drive. That's why, I did not, pay attention or go up there to update my license in the file.
I have no further questions on cross. If you would like to provide a little more redirect, you may do so.
All right. I would like to, I guess at this point, we've heard all the argument and the factual information. Mr. Tran, I think you've made your position clear. Explain to us why you believe your late appeal should be accepted. Mr. Cohen, do you want to make any argument at this point? And then we'll have a brief minute executive session.
Very briefly, as the board saw, the city did actually email or did mail a notice of violation in November of 2023 to 316 Pickwick Drive. A denial is legally not sufficient to overcome the presumption that that notice was received. And the city also mailed the proper rental license address, the same address he still re-upped 2 weeks ago with the department that he's required to change. So Mr. Tran is unfortunately negligent in not checking the mail at Pickwick Drive, and additionally negligent in not updating the address on file with LNI. Because if LNI sends a notice to your rental license address, we presume that you will receive it. And for those reasons, the board should dismiss this appeal as untimely. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll take an executive session briefly. Do we hear? Or?
For Mr. Tran.
All right.
So can I have a quick question?
I missed what was just said. If someone has a question?
Yeah, this is Tuan Tran. Sir, before you make a decision, can I have, a quick question on my position?
You can ask a question, sure.
Yeah, the license that Mr. Cohen sent, was sent it to us lately. No, this city did not send. I just go on there and update it online. I received no license lately sent out to the address.
Well, we understand that you may or may not have received this license at that new address because you said your daughter moved out. But you made application or submitted an application for the renewal of that license, and your prior license had the same language in it regarding providing notice within 10 days if the address changes. So we understand that it's possible that this last license that was presented by Mr. Cohen hasn't been received by you, but you've had other rental licenses for the property using the same address. So if you'll wait for a moment, we've heard the arguments. We're going to have an executive session and then we'll come back and vote. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Mr. Kelly, recording is Mr. Kelly, are you back with us? I have to change my view. Just a moment. Speaker.
Yes, Chair, I am ready to go.
Okay. We've heard the argument. We're ready to vote. This is on whether or not to accept the petition to accept the late appeal. In the legal terminology, it's called a petition nunc pro tunc, meaning now for then. I don't need to go further than that. We'll start with the vote as to whether or not to, I guess we're dismissing the appeal, or are we just deciding on the nunc pro tunc?
You first vote whether to grant the relief, nunc pro tunc,
Okay.
and we'll go from there.
All right. So we're either granting or denying. All right. Based on the argument and the positions advanced, my vote is to deny the petition nunc pro tunc.
Appeal denied.
Appeal denied. Appeal denied.
The vote of all of the members of the board is to deny your petition for a late appeal. We will not hear your case. The decision has been rendered on the late appeal request. Thank you, Mr. Cohen. Thank you, Mr. Tran.
Thank you, members of the board. May I and Inspector Williams be excused?
Yes, as well as the interpreter. Thank you, Mr. Nguyen. Thank you, Mr. Tran. If you have any questions, you'll get a notice in the mail from the Board of License and Inspection Review regarding the decision to deny the late appeal.
Thank you, Inspector Williams, for your presence today.
I will note for
Thank you.
Mr. Tran, all final decisions of the board are appealable to the Court of Common Pleas within 30 days.
Thank you very much, members of the board.
Very good. Then
No, that's not the number.
the next next case, do
Mr.
we have any
Pincus?
petitioners in the room?
Can I call your attention to number 34?
Yes.
Mr. Mazurek wants to read an agreement into the record for that matter, sir.
Good afternoon, board members. I believe the appellants for this case, Kingsley Wright and his wife are on the call.
Yes.
So the city reached an agreement with the Wrights. This will be a city of firm with a reduced fine of $150.
Oh, well, he did. Okay, I'm sorry. City agreement, city affirmed.
And a reduced fine of $150.
Case number 34.
Correct.
Just let's read it into the record.
Yes, sir. Hearing appeal ending 1334-5208 Baltimore Avenue, Kingsley Wright doing business as Kingsley Home Remodeling LLC.
Is the
Yes.
appellant present?
Yes.
Is that your understanding as well?
Yes, sir.
Very good. All right. We'll mark the case as settled by agreement. Case number 34.
Thank you.
Mr. Wazor.
Thank you, board members.
Okay.
Mr. Pincus, that'll bring you back to the top of the list again.
Okay.
And that will be item number 5 on today's list. Hearing appeal ending 49512051 North 9th Street, Maria Nguyen.
Ria Nguyen, are you present? Case number 5, 2051 North 9th Street. This is the third listing of this case. Maria Nguyen, if I'm saying it correctly, that's
Nguyen.
my understanding of how it should be said. Nguyen,
Nguyen.
Maria Nguyen. Are you present? I see a name on the board. Oh, that's the interpreter. Am I correct? Tuan, he's the interpreter.
There's no one in
Yes,
the room
I'm-
matching that name, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. May it please the board, Leonard F. Reuter, Reuter, Senior Attorney, City of Philadelphia. We had previously reached out by email to Ms. Nguyen regarding this matter, specifically raising the question of whether an interpreter was needed as well. Received no response. We used the email address that is listed on her appeal. So this is the third listing. The city would, just for the sake, so the board understands the previous listing was continued due to the unavailability of the city witness. They were in training that day, so it was not the appellant who requested at least one of the prior continuances. That being said, the city would now ask the matter be dismissed for failing to appear.
Mr. Pincus,
Yes.
appellants listed 2051 North 9th Street as their address in the appeal. Notice of this hearing was sent to that address on 1/23/25.
Very good. Not hearing anyone in response to the call of the list. 2051 North 9th Street, appeal number HA 2023-004-951. Mr. Pettit, what time do you have?
2 p.m.
My vote is city affirmed. That's your request that the city be affirmed, Mr. Reuter?
Well, or the case be dismissed for failing to appear, but that's fine. Whatever the,
All right, the decision of the board would be city affirmed for failure to appear, non-appearance. My vote is city affirmed, failure to appear.
City affirmed non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
City affirmed for non-appearance.
thank you.
Okay.
Sir, calling the board's attention to case number 9 on the list. Hearing appeal ending 0607-6141 West Oxford Street. Andrew Titer is the appellant.
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. Tiger, who's here for the city on this case? Mr. Tiger, do you have a,
You have been added to the waiting room. You cannot talk or listen until the host admits you to the meeting.
we're just, do we have technical issues?
I think he's logged in both on his phone and on the on his.
Mr.
computer.
Petter, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. It's all resolved, sir.
Everything's okay? All right, case number 9, Andrew Titer. 6141 West Oxford Street. Mr. Reuter?
Thank you. May it please the board, Leonard F. Reuter, Senior Attorney, City of Philadelphia. And I'm also here with Inspector Brett McDonald from the Department of Licenses and Inspections, if I could have him sworn.
Inspector, can I swear you in? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
You have to turn the speaker on.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Say your name again, Inspector.
Inspector Brett McDonald, License and Inspections.
Thank you.
Inspector Brett McDonald.
McDonald, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so the city will present its case first, Mr. Reuter, and then we'll hear from the appellant.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I've noticed that Mr. Tuan Nguyen, we do not need a Vietnamese interpreter. Is that correct, Chair?
Yes, that is correct.
Mr. Nguyen, if you'd like, you may sign off.
Thank you, Senior
Thank you.
Services. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you for staying. Mr. Reuter.
Thank you. Mr. McDonald, if you could just state your name and your position.
Inspector Brett McDonald, License and Inspections, Code Enforcement Officer.
Okay, and how long have you been in that position?
Been in it for 11 years.
Okay, and in the course and scope of your duties with the department, have you come to become familiar with the property located at 6041 West Oxford Street? 6141 West Oxford Street?
Yes.
Okay,
You can move your microphone.
okay. If the board will give me just a little indulgence here, when I was sitting back there, I wasn't logged into the Zoom, but I have to be to share my screen, so it's just taking a second.
Technical issues, Mr. Reuter.
No, intentionally, we're not logged in while we're sitting in the audience, because then,
You can mute or unmute yourself by pressing *6.
thanks. Just need to the audio. All right, thank you. If I may then share my screen. Thank you.
Do we do this for?
And I can see that's up there, so. All right, there you go. And I believe everybody can see that because let's see, it's up on the screen. This is the city's exhibit package. We emailed copies of this to Mr. Titer, at least via the email address that was listed on his appeal. as well as board's administration. The first thing you're looking at is a copy of Mr. Titer's appeal, which also has a copy of the violation notice attached. Mr. McDonald, are you familiar with the document that I'm currently showing on the screen?
I think you need to make the exhibit a little larger,
Sure, let me see.
at least on my screen.
Okay, hold on. Not sure I can do full screen. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to just, unfortunately. Right. Is that? Can you see that then? Is that all right?
That's, yes, I guess you need to expand it on the screen.
Yeah. All right. Are you familiar with the document that's being shown on the screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, what is this?
So violation notice of order to correct.
Okay, and I'm going to show you, this is a part of the appellant's appeal. I'm going to show Exhibit C2, which is a cleaner copy of the violation. And when was that, approximately, when was this violation issued?
Say January 17th, 2024.
Okay, and what violations were noted?
Violation we noticed was the basement was an apartment. And also that it was leaking and also in the basement as well.
Okay, and based upon the information that you were able to gather at the department, were there any permits authorizing a third dwelling unit in this property?
No, sir.
Okay, and you said that that there was an inspection done of the interior of the property?
Yes, when I went there in January of last year.
Back in January, okay, and what did you notice inside of the unit in the downstairs?
I noticed it was furniture down there, like a little kitchen, bedroom, and the tenant was also living down there as well. Because she's the one that allowed me in.
I'm sorry, you said that there was a tenant?
Yes, it was a tenant there.
There was a tenant at,
Yeah,
so
at
you,
the time I was there, yes.
okay, did you have any conversation with the tenant at the time?
You know, just the normal, she was just telling me what was going on down there in the apartment.
Okay, and as a result of that conversation, did you come to a conclusion that she was actually herself living in that basement?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to draw your attention now to, whoops, a couple other exhibits here.
Mr. Reuter, are you able to make that picture a full-size picture on our screen? We are only seeing, I don't know what we're seeing.
Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
Yeah, all right, but that's not the full size of.
No, I can actually have to reduce this now.
There you go.
Right.
Okay.
And Mr. McDonald, do you recognize this photo?
Yes.
Okay, and is that the front of the property in question?
Yes.
Okay, did you take these photos yourself, by the way?
Yes, sir.
And are they kept in the regular order of business at the department as part of the department's records?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna enlarge this one a little bit just so you can see.
Yeah.
Again, just a copy, picture of the front door. I gotta reduce. The picture of the front door. There we go.
Yeah.
Now, this picture that I'm showing here, which apparently this was taken on January 12th.
Yes.
Okay, and what does this show?
That shows the kitchen area.
And this is in the basement?
In the basement apartment, yes.
Okay. And what is this picture showing here?
Well, if you look at it, you can see like water. With,
Okay.
like,
right there where
there's
where the
water.
cursor
and then
is
you go
showing?
over a little more to your left. There's some water over there as well.
Okay.
Down, so.
And did you make a determination of where that water was coming from? Do you think somebody just spilled it there or?
No, I think it was some kind of leak, but I couldn't determine actually where it was coming from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to show you the next picture. And is this a picture of the exterior of the property?
Yes,
Okay, let me kind of reduce this a little bit. And what are we looking at here? What's that on the left side?
there's 3 bells.
Okay, and given the fact that you witnessed a dwelling unit in the basement, you also spoke with a person who indicated that she was residing in the basement, and you now see that there are 3 bells to the 3 doorbells on the exterior of the property. Would it be fair to conclude that there were 3 units in the property?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And again, to the best of your knowledge and what you were able to determine, is there any authorization either by zoning permits, certificate of occupancy, or anything to allow 3 units at the property?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, I'm going to show you the last picture here. And what are we looking at this photo?
And that's the entrance to the basement apartment.
Okay. Are these stairs open to the exterior, or is there another door?
No, it's they just open to the interior, like I can just walk down the stairs.
Okay, is that a separate entrance for this basement unit, or
Yes, that's a separate entrance. That's in the rear.
this is in the rear?
That's the rear. That's how the tenant comes in and out through the
Okay,
rear,
so there's no other egress for the tenant other than this?
other than the basement. I mean, those steps there, yes.
Okay. Now, the other exhibits I'm going to show for to the zoning board, to the Board of L&I review, this is the zoning record for the property. Inspector, are you familiar at all with zoning permits and what they look like?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show what this looks like, and what does that say up in the upper left part of the document?
Application for zoning permit.
Okay, and it's a little hard to read, but can you see a date right about on the right side here?
If I'm reading it right, that's April 29th, 1999.
Okay, and does this appear to be a permit application to change from a 2-family dwelling to a 3-family dwelling?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go further down. And what does this document here indicate?
This is not a permit.
This is not a permit.
Yeah, no notice of decision, but this is not a permit.
Okay, and this came from the Zoning Board of Adjustment?
Yes.
Okay, and if you look in the middle of the document, does it indicate that request for variance was dismissed by the Zoning Board?
Yes.
Okay, and again,
Hold on a moment. We have an echo.
Mr. Titer, you seem to have 2 devices going. Would you please mute one of them?
Yeah, I just did.
all right, so I have no further questions of the inspector. If Mr. Titer wants to ask any questions, he's welcome to.
Let me just confirm from your testimony that there was that application confirms that there was legally present at the property approval for 2 units, and the application to change it to 3 units was dismissed. That's the wording that was used in the form.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Titer, if I'm saying your name correctly, this is not your opportunity to explain or present your case, but based on the information and answers to the questions that were given by Inspector McDonald, do you have any questions for him regarding the statements that he just made?
Well, the first question is the water. I see on the violation where he said there was a pipe busted. There was no pipe busted where that water came
But
from.
again, Mr. Titer, what I'm saying to you is, do you have any questions based on his statements? You can explain your understanding of what is or isn't or did not happen at the property. Do you have a question for Inspector McDonald based on any of the statements that he just made?
No.
Thank you.
If I could have one quick redirect, actually, it goes to just a point that Mr. Tito was trying to raise, just very briefly. Inspector, have you attempted to make a re-inspection of the property to see if any work had been completed or any repairs had been done?
Yes.
And what happened when you made that?
When I went back to the property, I couldn't gain access.
Okay, so you're not able to tell the board right now whether or not the water leak or water problem has been resolved?
No, not at all.
Okay, thank you.
I just do want to confirm, there are two violations that are on the notice. One is with respect to the basement use as an apartment, which is a separate zoning violation. And the other violation is the fact that you observed a wetness condition in the basement and you weren't able to identify the source or cause of it other than you observed a wet basement.
Yes, water in the basement, yes.
Thank you. All right.
Inspector, was it water or was it just dampness?
It was water.
Water? And when you were in the basement, could you tell where the sanitary pipe was?
Honestly, no.
No? Okay.
I have
So-
a question.
Yes.
Inspector, was there a bathroom in that basement?
I think it was. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any more questions? All right.
I would just so to be clear to the board that as Acting Chair Pincus has indicated, the only violations that are issued in this appeal are for whatever the plumbing issue may or may not have been, and the zoning violation, because again, other issues might arise as a result of those, but those were not written, such as like certificate of occupancy, things like that. Those are not part of this appeal. So just to make that clear.
All right, Mr. Titer, this is your opportunity to present any information you have that would explain why the violation was improperly issued.
Okay, well, the first issue I'm gonna address is the water. There wasn't a broken pipe or anything. It was just we had a lot of rain that whole month. And water was seeping in somewhere from outside coming in. Into the property on the basement, and that's the issue right there with the water. So that's the source of the water right there where that was coming in. There was no broken pipe or anything. It was just excess water from the rain coming in, from the rain we've been getting. And I bought and that's for the water, and it pertained to the basement being, he said it was an apartment. I bought the property like that, and I wasn't renting to anyone. I just had her storing some stuff there, and she wanted to stay there for a few. So, that's all it was. It wasn't an apartment that was rented.
So when you purchased the property, there was an apartment that had already been renovated and ready for occupancy in the basement. Is that correct?
I purchased it just like it is. I don't know if that's what you want to call it, but that's how I bought it, just like that. If that's what you call it, that's fine.
Okay.
That's just how I bought it.
Okay. And did you ever get a rental license for 3 units at the property?
No, because I never rent the place.
Someone living in the basement?
My kids live there. I live out in another state, so I think they may have had someone staying there storing some stuff, from what I know when I found out.
So someone at one point in time did live in the basement in the property. Is that correct?
Well, I found out when I got the
I
notice
guess that's
in
a
the mail.
yes or no question. Was someone living in the basement at some point in time when the L&I inspector went out to the property? Was there someone living in the basement?
To what my kids told me, they had someone storing some stuff down there. They didn't have nowhere to go, and they need to store them stuff. That's what I can tell you there.
All right. Thank you. Go
All right.
ahead.
I have a question, Mr. Titan. The complaint was filed by someone that was either living in the basement or storing items in the basement, correct?
That's what the inspector said.
Well, my question is posed to you, sir.
Well, I just told you that's what the inspector said.
No,
I wasn't
I'm
aware of
asking
it,
you. Are you
I don't
aware
know.
of- And the
My kids
complaint-
live there and they must have had someone staying there, a friend of them.
So they must have had, you're not certain.
No,
Your children did not tell you.
no.
Thank you.
All right, anything further you want to add, Mr. Titer?
No,
Yes, sir.
that's it. Those are my two issues, because those were the
Okay.
two violations that was presented
Okay.
to me.
But would you agree that there's never been approval for a unit in the basement, an apartment unit in the basement?
Yeah, I could approve for that. Yeah, there were none. I mean, because I didn't have it
Yeah.
as an apartment.
And you know that in the city of Philadelphia, when you buy property, the seller is required to provide you with a certificate of not a certificate of occupancy, a housing certification statement telling you what the legal use of that property is, whether it happened or not when you bought the property. There is that requirement, and if you obtained, or if the seller obtained that certificate, it would tell you what the legally permitted use of that property is. So whenever you bought it, you should have gotten that certification, which would tell you that the only legally permissible use is as a two-family dwelling. But let's proceed. Mr. Reuter, did you have a question?
Yes, just a couple questions. Mr. Titer, would you agree that you have owned the property since at least 1999?
My mother owned it.
Okay, and do you recall submitting a permit application in 1999 to add a third unit to the property?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think so.
and do you agree that that application, that you needed a variance for that? If you remember?
I don't recall. I just noticed it when you posted up on the screen.
Okay, so then you're not denying the fact that your request for a third dwelling unit in the property was ultimately not granted by the zoning board, is that right? If you remember.
No, don't remember.
Don't remember, okay. Do you remember putting a kitchen in the basement?
No, I told you I bought the property like that.
You bought the property with the kitchen in the basement?
As whatever he sees down there, that's how I bought it.
Okay. And with respect to the water on the floor, it's your testimony today that that water is caused by basically some flooding that got into the basement. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've had a lot of rain. I heard there was a lot of rain that whole month, maybe 2
Okay.
months. So
And just to follow up with board member Pettit's question, is there a basement drain, or has that been covered up? If you remember.
I don't recall, because like I said, I bought the property like that.
Okay, so maybe your kids covered that up for some reason? You don't know?
Don't know.
Okay. Do you think that might indicate that having somebody living in the basement currently is a bad idea?
Like I said, my kids, they're the one who probably, so there you go. I wasn't aware of, like I said, I don't live there.
Okay.
And when I got the violations, that's when I realized what was going on and try to address it.
All right, thank you very much. I have no further
All right.
questions.
I have a question. Go ahead, Ms. Penn.
I have a question for Mr. Titer. You said that you purchased this property. Did you purchase it from your mother?
My mother purchased it, and she had me on the deed.
So you've been owning the property as long as your mother has owned the property. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
she's the original owner, and I was on the deed.
Is your mother still living?
Yeah.
When you received the violation notice and you saw the language that the zoning didn't approve the third unit in the basement, what steps did you take to legalize the unit?
I didn't take any, because like I said, I wasn't using it for any of that usage, and I wasn't planning on it.
Did you do any investigation, like go to the property to see if anybody was using it?
No, I haven't been there in months. Like I said, when I
But
got
you're
the
legally,
violation.
I'm sorry for cutting you off. And where do you reside again, Mr. Titer?
I live in Florida.
And who's responsible for maintaining the property while you reside in Florida?
My kids, if there's any issue, they might call me and say, hey, if there's anything major.
So when you got the violation notice saying that you had a zoning violation. Did you not think that was a major issue that needed to be addressed?
Yeah. Once I got it, I said, oh, okay, I may have to address this. So I said, let me appeal this violation, come by here and get the information and see where I can go from there.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a question for you. Thank you, Ms. Penn asked three of the questions I was going to ask, but the one I want to ask was that you said that there was water coming in and from heavy rains. And I believe on your
Yes.
appeal, you stated that you had resolved that issue. What was the cause and what was the resolution?
Well, I mean, water's been coming in the basement for years when we get a lot of heavy rain. So when I got the violation, I saw it, I was like, huh, that has to be what it's coming from, where that water is from. So on violation, I just explained that's what it was coming from. I mean, there could be nothing else. Whenever we have rain for like weeks, you know, it usually seeps in from the back and makes its way in the basement there.
Okay, that was the answer to my cause. Now my question again is, what was the resolution? Have you resolved that issue so it doesn't occur again and you don't receive a violation?
Well, what I did is I got whatever the person that was out there out of it. And actually I did resolve that issue over the summer. I figured out what it was and what I need to do. And I did fix that issue.
What was the resolution, the actual resolution?
Well, what it was is the water was coming off the roof, and the drain from the roof would lead the water out to the backyard. When the excessive water, it goes in the back and comes in. So that drain was supposed to lead to the main sewer line from the rear. So what I had to do is reconnect it from the roof, connect to the rear sewer line. So it goes right in the sewer and it goes out in the street. So it was no longer running out in the back of the yard, in the rear of the yard. So from all that water that was going in the back, now it goes in the drain and it's dry, and you know that problem was solved right there with the water coming in the basement. Because the drain,
Did you do that yourself? I'm sorry, but continue.
Yeah, you said that. So that was the problem. I realized that water coming off the roof lead to the soft grass, and then it, the dirt, and it finds its way back into the rear of the property in the basement. So I had to redirect it back to the main drain connection in the rear of the building. And ever since, and I cement, we did that, and I actually had the pictures.
Did you do that yourself or did you hire someone?
No, I don't do that. It's not my kind of work. So
did you come into the state
to
to see that was done?
Huh?
Did you come to the city of Philadelphia to see that was done correctly?
Yeah, once I figured out what it was this past summer, I came, I did evaluation, I realized that's what it was, and I came and got it done.
You did it yourself or you hired a contractor?
I hired someone I know.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Steve.
Several quick. Mr. Tiger, who lives there?
I have two kids that lives there.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the answer.
I have two of my kids that lives there.
Did you give your kids permission to rent the basement out?
No, I would never do nothing like that. Not when I know it's not permitted to be rented down there.
And I have a question for the inspector. Was the complaint a renter?
Yes,
They told you they rent?
yes, sir.
And was there an entrance to the basement from the interior of the house?
No, just only one I saw was you had to go through the back and go down in the basement, back to the backyard and go down.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I have another question, two more questions for Mr. Titer. Mr. Titer, when I was asking questions previously, you said that you didn't come into this city of Philadelphia to address the zoning matter, but you now just testified that you were here to address the leak or the plumbing from the gutters or water running off of the roof. So again, my question would be why, when you were here, you did not address the zoning violation?
Well, for one, I wanted to come by this hearing and see, where the step would lead and what I had to do next after, I got a result from here. And then I was move on to see if I could, get that problem solved, if it's possible.
And you still have not answered my question as to why you did not address the zoning violation.
Well, I said I was waiting for this, hearing to see where it lead, and then I would try to see if I could, based on what's I'm told here, what my next step would be. That's the address for addressing your zoning.
Thank you very much.
All right, so at the present time, I just want to confirm, based on your testimony and the testimony
issue,
of inspector.
after this hearing, now where we go from here.
Let me repeat, if I may. Based on your testimony and the testimony of Inspector McDonald, you're the legal owner of the property at 6141 West Oxford Street, that you live in Florida, and that, as far as you know, your children are involved in the use of that property. You don't know for a fact whether or not there are 3 separate apartments that are being occupied or 2. One of those apartments could well be an apartment that's in the basement that was never legally approved. There is an apartment in the basement, and the use of that property is only as a 2-family dwelling. In the 20-odd years, 25 years that you've owned the property, you've never done anything to remove or disable the basement apartment from use as a residential unit. This is my understanding. So we are being asked to vote on whether or not your appeal is a valid appeal to the violations that were issued by the Department of Licenses and Inspections. Do you have anything else you want to add to the testimony that you've presented today?
No.
Mr. Reuter.
Sure. If I could just conclude, I think the record's actually not even being challenged. Mr. Titer is essentially, throwing his kids under the bus and claiming that they're the ones that probably are having somebody live in the basement, which after all might actually be true since he lives in Florida. And he says his children are living in the property. I think it's clear from the photos that were presented, again, to which there's no dispute, that there is a dwelling unit in the basement. There's a 3rd bell indicating 3 units in the property. That while I'm not saying it's not legal or possible to have a legal unit in a basement, that it does require certain additional compliance and additional steps under the building codes, none of which, by the way, was cited. Just want to clarify that, again, it's part of the reason why basement units are disfavored, and oftentimes the zoning board itself for multi-unit properties will specifically add a proviso, no basement unit. Again, given the fact that there doesn't appear to be any zoning permit or other authorization for the 3rd unit in the property, it's unlikely that that unit is proper, and it's clearly not legal, but it shouldn't be occupied. So we haven't really heard any dispute of any of that, and therefore the city would ask that the appeal be denied. And before that, I would just move that the city's exhibits be entered into the record.
City's exhibits are admitted. We'll take a vote. My vote is.
Wait, just a moment. Let's make sure, did Mr. Titer have an opportunity for a closing argument?
I thought I asked him if he wanted to say anything further, but I will.
You did, and immediately after, I believe Mr. Reuter gave his response. I just want to
Okay,
give a
I have
moment.
no problem. Mr. Titer, do you have any argument you want to make in favor of your appeal?
No.
All right. We're ready to vote. My vote is city affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
City affirmed.
The vote is city affirmed 4-0. It was unanimous. If you want to appeal the decision that we just made, you will have a notice of the decision issued to you, and it tells you the appeal procedure. You have 30 days to appeal our decision. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe that concludes my business today. Not 100% sure, but may I be excused?
Yes, Mr. Reuter, thank you.
Thanks, members of the board.
Thank you, Inspector.
Thank you, Inspector.
Thank you, Inspector. Do we have any more? I see Ms. Carmody here, but, oh, we do.
Yep.
Case number 44, is that right?
Number 44 is the next on the list. Yes, sir.
Believe it's the final matter on today's list as well.
That's hearing appeal ending 1371-2813 Maxwell Street. Abadizi Adoyan is present in the room, sir.
All right, give me a moment to get case number 44. Deb, I see, I can't pronounce it. Are you present?
Mr. or Ms. Adedoyan, are you present? Was in the room. Adebis Adedoyan.
Are you present? I see the name on my screen and I see the name and I see you need to unmute yourself and make your video available. Are you hearing me? Adebis Adedoyan. We'll say it again. Adebis Adedoyan, 2813 Maxwell Street. Case number HA 2024-001371. You're present on my screen, but no one's responding. Ms. Carmody.
Before we were called to order, appellant was on audio only, and then I believe attempted to join the Zoom link. I mean, he's in the room, so I would hate to ask for any type of.
Is there any way to try to call them and see if they can respond? We'll take a 5-minute recess and try to reach the people. We'll resume, Mr. Kelly, we'll resume. It's 2:40. We'll resume at 2:45.
Yes, Chair.
Adebisi Adedoyan, are
Yes,
you
sir.
present?
Present, sir.
Okay, are you the owner of the property?
Yes, sir.
The property is 2813 Maxwell Street?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good.
Let's read the case into the record.
This is
yes.
item 44 on today's list, hearing appeal ending 1371-2813 Maxwell Street. Adebisi Adedoyan is the appellant. Is present in the room, sir.
Yeah, I'm present.
Very good. And you are the owner of the property, correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you, I'd like to swear you in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give today would be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll have the city solicitor present the case first, and then we'll hear from you with your answer to the reason for your appeal.
Okay, sir.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Caitlin Carmody on behalf of the city, CARMODY. I have as our sole witness Inspector Christopher Hogan, who is on the call.
Hello.
Hi, Inspector.
Inspector Hogan, can we see you?
I thought we were now.
Well, not really. We can't, at least I can't see you on my screen. Is your video enabled?
Same as system, select camera, integrated.
Is
with-
the privacy screen on the top of your laptop engaged?
Privacy screen.
There's a small switch next to the camera.
Here we go.
I hate to cause another
thank you.
delay.
Thank
hate to
you
cause
there,
a-
Mr.
I hate to cause another delay. May I have 30 seconds with the board?
Yes.
Okay, let's go off the record for just hopefully 30 seconds.
How did you wish to proceed at the moment?
I was going to at least bring to the board's attention that this appeal is about a week late. When I first received the list, I saw that there was an indication that late appeal was granted, so I didn't know if the board had already made up their mind ahead of the hearings. But it was something I was at least going to lodge for the record. It is the city's position that the late appeal form does not state any type of adequate reasoning as to why the appeal is late. The notice of violation went to the premises address, which is also the contact address listed on the late appeal form, the appeal application, the Office of Property Assessment website, the deed itself. So the city would like to at least raise the issue of lateness and would defer to the board.
All right, so when you say the issue is of lateness, if our records are correct, the notice of violation is dated March the 5th, 2024, and the appeal is stamped as received by the board's administrative staff on April the 12th, 2024, which would make it 7 days late.
Correct.
Thereabouts. And you've indicated that there's no reason explained why this is a late appeal. Do you understand that issue, Mr. Adedoyan?
Yeah, I understand, sir.
So the difficulty is that we as a board are constrained by the regulations that affect how we proceed procedurally. And the procedure requires that any appeal that is filed more than 30 days after the date, presuming it was mailed on that date, if it's not filed within 30 days, it's late, and we technically don't have authority to hear it. Do you have an explanation of why you did not file that appeal on or before April
Yes.
the 5th?
Yes, sir. I traveled to see my family. And when I came at the time that it was already late. I was out of the country.
So you were out of the country, but there was no problem with respect to the notice being sent by the city in a timely fashion. You were not available to file the appeal. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Just a moment.
Thank you, sir.
We're going to have a brief executive session. Record, we're back on the record. My colleague has a question for you.
Okay, sir.
Yes, Mr. Adedoyan, would you tell us the dates of your travel, please, when you left the country and when you returned?
I think I traveled February 22nd, and I came back March 10th, something like that. I'll look at it and I'll let you know around that time.
You said you came back on March 10?
Yeah, it's March 10th.
If you came back on March 10th and you received this notice of violation, you could have filed it within 30 days then of the date of the violation. Is that correct?
I think when I saw it, I was making some call. I remember that time they were trying to tell me I did not understand what was actually happened. I kept calling those numbers and they were sending me to different places until like after the 5th time when I called, and whosoever talked to me told me exactly what to do to come down to the city and file it. I've been trying to make a call to know what is going on. And because I wasn't used to this, I never had this kind of issue before, so I didn't know how to go about it.
Okay. But the fact is, you did receive the notice. You did have possession of the notice during the month of March. And while you were trying to figure out what to do, the notice in its written language says that you can and must file an appeal within 30 days. And you filed your appeal more than 30 days after the date of the notice. That is
Yeah.
correct. That is
Yes,
correct.
sir. Yeah, I did another thing. I think I have the email because there was a sign right there that I said you can email one officer that in charge. I did an email and it took some time before I got a response. I did a lot. I make call, I sent an email, and I was just waiting to know which channel, the right one I need to go. So it wasn't like I just kept it. I didn't say I didn't do nothing. I make attempt to call and I send an email.
Okay, I understand. Ms. Carmody, do you have any questions of Mr. Adedoyan?
I do not.
Anyone from the board?
I just have one other question for you, Mr. Adedoyan. Did you read the notice of violation in its entirety?
Yes,
And did you see the language which Chairman Pincus has pointed out that you needed to file your appeal within 30 days?
yes.
So when you didn't get a response to your telephone calls or email, and the 30 days were ticking by, why did you not come into the city and speak to someone directly so that you would know how to file your appeal?
Okay, that's what I'm saying that I did. Okay, I'm very sorry about that, but I don't know anything about. I mean, I didn't even understand the whole thing. I know it says file appeal. I was just trying to know where the right channel to go to, how I need to do it. I did not understand it, so I'm very sorry about that. But it wasn't like I just left here not doing nothing. I was expecting like maybe somebody will email me, call me back and really tell me where to go and how to go about it. I'm sorry.
Well, all right, but the fact is, not only you may not have understood about filing the appeal, you constructed an apartment in your basement in a garage, and you never got permits for that. That's what the underlying violation is for. And you didn't bother to find out whether you needed to get any permits to do that work either. So I think first we need to vote based on your statements regarding the late appeal, whether or not we will grant the application nunc pro tunc. Do you have anything further, Ms. Carmody? I think you said no.
I do not have anything
All
further.
right, I think under the circumstances, we'll take a vote of the board. My vote is to deny the appeal to hear the petition nunc pro tunc.
Appeal denied.
Appeal denied.
Appeal denied.
We've decided that because your appeal was filed late, we will not hear the appeal on the merits. You have 30 days after you receive the notice of decision to file an appeal to the Court of Common Pleas. You'll get a written notice that we've denied the grant of the nunc petition to hear a late appeal. Thank you, Mr. Adedoyan. Thank you, Ms. Carmody.
Thank you.
I think
That concludes today's list, sir.
there are no further cases. There may be some people who were here. The cases have all been adjudicated for today, and we will end the hearing of the Board of Licenses and Inspections review for March the 11th. Thank you.
There's a Mr. Hopkins.
Yeah, hold on, Mr. Kelly. Yes, Mr. Hopkins.
Yes, they said that we would be heard today, and I was skipped right over. 4829 Longshore.
Just a moment. Just a moment. Message.
HA 2024 001221. Subject meeting.
That is 1221. It is on the list. It's marked, and if you didn't listen earlier, we went through the list and it was marked moot complied. If you don't understand what that means, you can contact the board's administration office phone number that's listed on the notice of your appeal. But it was listed as moot complied. All right? If you have, if you don't,
62427.
sir, I just said the property at 4829 Longshore Avenue, it's under the name of Robert Nocella. Is that the address?
Yes.
All right, you're not Mr. Nocella, are you?
I'm the tenant that was handling the entire situation.
Well, the answer is the case has been marked moot complied. There's nothing further that's going to be done today. If you or Mr. Nocella want to find out further, call the number that's listed on the notice of the notice that was given for today's hearing. Okay?
All right.
And there's an attorney, Oleg Sokolov, that's listed, and we didn't hear from him. Okay?
All right.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Kelly, for sticking around. We will now conclude the matter. Mr. Hogan, you're excused. Inspector, I believe it's Inspector Hogan. Thank you
Yep,
for
thank
coming.
you.
All right, Ms. Carmody, thank you. We're done.